three.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Idiomatic's Top 3.
With Nicholas, I'm the video game correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic. And you know what is particular about people in my field, writers and all of that?
No,
You can't count.
that's good.
Yeah. And that's why today we're actually doing a top 5 instead of 3.
I'm cool with that.
You're cool with that?
Yeah.
So, to be precise, we are doing top 5 pet peeves in video games.
Yes. I'm a big gamer. You're a little less, but you still play enough video games to have stuff that annoys you when you're playing, stuff you could do without.
I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so yeah, I've played enough video games.
That too, as well. Yeah. At the time where video games also were just, starting to expand, so, there was enough stuff to be peeved about in that area.
Good heavens, yeah. Alright, so let's get to the show proper. We've got a lot of material to go through. So, what is your number 5 pet peeve in video games?
No, that's a no one, but it still kind of rears its ugly head these days once in a while. When you have too many actions for the number of buttons on your controller. That really became a problem like first in the old Nintendo era when you only had 2 buttons and the games became really involved. You had to use select and start for actions.
Yeah.
Which, for example, in Zelda, when you use them to go to the sub-menu, that's fine. But when you have to use them to fight, it just becomes very, very awkward. The worst example, I think, was Street Fighter when you played it on the Genesis. So you had 6 actions with only 3 buttons. That was terrible. You could not play with that. They had to sell different controllers just for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
These days, it's a little different because you have so many controllers. Controls with so many buttons, like 6 or 8 or even 12.
Except if you have a Wii U.
Except if you have a Wii U. And even with computer gaming now, you have the whole keyboard, so there's no limit. But it still sometimes comes back when you have like computer games that are ported to console, and then you have to going through all the keyboard, all the way down to like 4 to 6 buttons. I think that's one of the reasons why they kind of limited the amount of abilities you can have in certain games. You can only cast like 6 spells at once. For example, in maybe Neverwinter or Diablo 3, you can only have like 6 spells. Even though you know a ton of them, you can only have 6 of them memorized at once. It's because when they go to the console, well, you have 6 buttons you can use.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm not quite a fan of dumbing down the game just because you might want to bring the console.
Does it bring an interesting challenge, though? Just sort of like essentially forcing you to rely on 6 abilities instead of a full gamut of abilities. Does it change the difficulty level?
It does change the difficulty, but it also brings a little bit of monotony because, you're oftentimes penalized for changing the abilities you want to use. You have to go back to town or you lose certain things. So you're stuck with the same 6 abilities all the time and it's repeat over and over and over again. It's good to have variety. In Diablo 2, you could have like dozens of them. I didn't use all 12 of them, but it was nice to know that they were still available at the price of a hotkey if I needed them. So, you just lose a certain layer there with the limited amount of fingers we have. I just hate having only 10 fingers.
Yeah, on a related note, like one of the things I also hate is when and it is a way to create more buttons on your controller, but where you have to do certain abilities by pressing more than one button at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hate that.
Oh yeah, press L, R, A, and B at the same time. And I was like, nobody can do that. Seriously.
And they often do that in like more involved like platformer type things. Like in fighting games, I find it's fair play because it's all about the opponent and your opponent's ability to really master your control pad, essentially. So, yeah, fair enough. But with platformers, when they do that, where you have to press like A and B at the same time with R and whatnot, what it does is that your chances of just being slightly off with the timing is pretty high, higher than just pressing one button. Yeah. So your chances of your character just doing random shit on the screen while you're trying to get this right is pretty high. And then you fall off the platform,
exactly.
Like, inevitably.
In a fighting game, it's funny. In the platformer, it's not so much, you know.
So
with that, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is something pretty broad, but I'm mentioning it anyway. I don't like time limits.
Okay.
I'm a pretty laid back player. I like to get things right on the first try, and I like to try several times and whatnot. This time limit, which forces me to rush through things and not really get to experience the levels, pisses me off.
I know. I know exactly what you're saying. When you have the time limit and you have to rush through things and you miss a bunch of stuff that, the developers put there for a reason. But no, I'm rushing because there's this time thing. I have to hurry up, and it's not super fun.
No, look, the designers of the game have created this vast environment for me to interact with. I sort of want to do that, and I'm a leisurely player. That's why I excel at the Lego games, like Lego Star Wars and whatnot, because I'm the sort of player that'll go that looks like I can hit it with stuff. Let's see what happens. Boop, 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 boop. It's like, oh, it doesn't do anything, but it sure looks cute. I'm going to do that a couple more times,
Yeah.
And for me, that's the fun of video games. I'm in a new environment. I'm a Lego character. I'm a whatever character, and I get to do stuff that I want to do. You put the time limit, and I don't get to do that. I have to rush to whatever task you told me to do.
Yeah.
It's a waste of designer time.
I also like those, I hate those sudden time limits. When you have a game with no time limits, and all of a sudden one of them pops on, and you're like, "What is this now?" All of a sudden, and you have to rush, and you're like, "This is not what I signed up for here."
Like in Super Metroid, where you inspect that deserted space station essentially, and then you find the little Metroid and goes you have this much time before you get out of the base. I'm like, what? No! Ah, crap!
Yeah, I know, and then you miss all your jumps because you're stressed out. It's just no time limits. If you do, it makes me angry. I agree. It's a good pet peeve.
Okay, well, what is your number 4 pet peeve in video games?
No endings. I hate when, you beat the game, you put your effort into it, you'd like at least some congratulations, not just a black screen, Even if you beat it on the easy difficulty or something, I just like, you want to see something cool. I remember the first time of this happening is, again, going back to Street Fighter, you beat it on easy difficulty and they tell you, why don't you try beating it in the harder difficulty? And you're like, well, why don't you shut up? Seriously. I had fun playing it in the easy difficulty. I was not tearing my hair out just trying to beat impossible bosses. I just had fun. I beat the game. Show me an ending. That's all I ask for. And maybe I'm asking for a lot, but now I play a lot of Flash games. And when the Flash game just ends, you beat the last level and it just goes black. You're like, what is this?
I agree. I feel you deserve a little reward. And I understand that not every game is story-based, especially not the Flash games.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can get an actual storyline completed. But I don't know, Tetris back in the day gave us the good grace of showing us a bunch of Russian people dancing on a little thing while the rocket was firing. And I'm like, that's enough. I could have gotten to see that if I hadn't reached that level. Fair enough. That's enough.
Those were Nintendo characters, not Russian people. On Nintendo, those were all Nintendo.
On the Game Boy.
Game Boys. I don't know the Game Boys.
No, on the Game Boys, they were Russian characters. But my point being, I think that's enough.
That's fine by me. Just not a black screen or just you suck because you did it on easy. That's the worst. Seriously.
Yeah, the try harder ending. I have to admit that I'm not as bothered by it because I always consider it as it's sort of like I haven't completed the game until I've played on hard. Okay, fine. That's how you consider it. You're a jerk, but
key point. You're a jerk. There you go. All right, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is much more prevalent in the 8-bit era than it is today, but just the same. Corners you can't get out of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, again, as I've mentioned, I'm a leisurely player who likes to do random shit because I think it's cute. Yeah. So if I see a little mountain going I wonder if I can slip in there, I'll do it. And if I can't get out of it, then I have to reboot the game and start all over.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off.
Sometimes it's not even, okay, I'm going to wait until an enemy kills me. But no, sometimes the enemy tries to hit you and they can't even reach you because you're in that place you weren't supposed to go. Yeah, I can totally see that. Then, alright, well, there goes my progress reset.
Amusingly, these are the only time where I wish there was a time limit.
Yeah, that's true. Although it's a long time to wait sometimes, But yeah,
Like, if you're gonna have holes like this, like, look, you gotta beta test your game and make sure that those spots aren't around too much, because your character's stuck, and you're like, what do I do now? Oh, fun.
yeah,
And or if you don't want to spend the time to do that, just give an option for restart level.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. That happens. Nobody can beta test anything 100%. There's still going to be glitches and bugs and places you can get stuck. But yeah, restarting the level is good. I'm thinking of an example on it was called Dirty Harry: The War on Drugs, where you enter a room and the room just says ha ha ha, and there's no way of killing yourself, and you're stuck in the room. And basically, the designers put that there to get you stuck there. That's the whole other different kind of corner you get stuck in, and that's basically a giant middle finger to you saying,
now you have to reset the game. Ha ha ha.
It's like, I hope you remember which room you enter, because if you enter here again, you're gonna die again.
No, it's placed randomly on the game.
Oh man, that'd be terrible. Yeah.
I don't know. It bugs me because sometimes you're near the end, and I just get curious because, like, if there's a hole for someone to get stuck in, my character will get stuck in it because I'm just that kind of player. Yeah. I'm that player who played Link to the Past and managed to do the dungeons completely out of order because I just venture randomly.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that too. It's like, hey, if I use the mirror a bunch of time, I can get past this obstacle without using the proper thing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to enter this dungeon now. So yeah, I see what you're saying, and it's annoying, for us cheaters that try and go everywhere, well, cheaters, explorers, I'll use the proper term, that try and go everywhere, it's good to have, restart the level.
Because you don't know what's a puzzle and what's not, especially in that game. It's like, maybe I'm supposed to be that clever and use the mirror 8 times. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. At least that game has the mirror you can use in the dungeon to go back to the beginning. So see, Nintendo does it well.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
All right, so what is your number 3? Oh, we're reaching the top 3, the title of the series.
Top 3.
Woo! Top 3 pet peeve in video games.
My number 3 is, like, poorly designed puzzles. There are certain games like Final Fantasy, or even, like I mentioned earlier, The Adventure of Link, where you have to solve certain things, but you usually get the information from talking to townspeople, or just common sense, or exploring. But there's those games that go like way too high. You have no information whatsoever on what you have to do. You get no clue, and it's basically, here, you're in this dungeon, you keep going back to the entrance for some reason, figure it out, and then you just have to go on the web and realize that you have to stand on that pixel. You read a walkthrough and stand on this pixel, and then it will solve the problem for you. I was like, how was I supposed to guess this? It kind of takes me out of the game when I have to alt-tab out, go check on the web, I'm stuck, what do I do? And then I get really angry and I read, this is not self-explanatory. How was I supposed to guess this? And then you go back to the game and you kind of feel like you cheated because, you didn't solve it by yourself, but you had no way of guessing.
I have experienced your frustration in such moments. We have played the GameCube game, Legend of Zelda, Four Swords Adventure.
Yeah.
And there's one random stage in it. It's like, first of all, like, what the hell with that stage, okay? Because it's all action-oriented for cooperative gameplay throughout most of it, and then you reach that one stage that would be way better off if you played alone, because it's all just puzzles of, like, you gotta give this to that person, and that to this person, and that, and, like, if you use this tool, that's when you will be able to reach that part of the stage. It's like, my god, you were about to lose your mind.
Yeah. Man, I was about to explode at that stage. I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to do it, basically, is what it is. And then you reach another place. I think you need to get this out of the way. How do we do this? And it's like, it was just ridiculous. And it was really out of place for the rest of the game, which was really fun adventure action.
Yeah.
This whole puzzle all of a sudden was like, what is this?
My number 3 pick is cutscenes that you can't skip.
Oh, yeah. Those I hate. Those are basically the developers saying, look at this cool animation I did. You are going to watch it and appreciate it, even though you've played this game like 3 times and you don't want to see it anymore. No. You will appreciate what we did.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's like, even though I've played this game 3 times, those cutscenes that you can't skip really hinder replay value. Because I don't want to sit through your lame story. Like, first of all, look, I don't mean to be a dick about this, but most video game stories are lame. Their dialogue, utter crap.
Come on, having the hero talk tough all the time is cool.
Yeah. Devil May Cry 4, I wanted to shoot myself. It's like, enough with the wisecracks. They're not funny. They're at the level of a 13-year-old at best, and I just don't want to hear that crap anymore. Like,
yeah.
And being stuck having to listen to that exposition, like 10 minutes at a time, while you're just like, I just want to get to the next stage because the game itself is fun. Like the game designers did a good job on that level, but like you are not told story. Like fucking let me skip your purple prose.
If you want us to see it at least once, fine. Force us to watch it once, and then the other replays. Okay, then you can press A to skip it. Okay, according to your experience in Devil May Cry 4, maybe you didn't even want to watch it once, but we'll get to middle ground here. We'll watch it once and then we'll skip it. Give us that ability at least.
Yeah, but at the same time, sort of like, let the gamer do whatever he wants. Like, to a certain degree, I will listen to it once, because I want to experience what the programmers had in store for me, and maybe there's a crucial clue in there,
Yeah.
I don't know, so I would not even skip it the first time around, but let's say I wanted to. What's going to change in your life, programmer? It's a free country.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. Okay, it's my number 2.
Yeah.
With talking about stories is plot holes. Because again, you think, those programmers are really clever and, we'll find these things here and, the story is very important. And then, they're giant plot holes as big as a house, in their game. And it's really distracting and you keep wondering, well, why can't I do this if it doesn't work? Like, for example, like you play Final Fantasy games where you can, whenever your character dies, you can always heal him with magic. But then in those cutscenes, somebody dies. Why don't you try and res him with your magic? No, he's dead for real this time. Why? My other character got eaten by a dragon, and I was able to cast a spell, and he was back to alive, and he's just sick, and he dies, and I can't cure him. What is the big deal? Or monsters that come back that should never come back. You thought I was dead, but I'm not. I'm pretty sure you're dead. I burned your corpses to cinders. How are you back alive? An example of that is Ridley in Metroid. You left his corpse on an exploding planet, and he comes back like a game later, and he has a metal armor. And you're like, I don't know, the planet I left you on, exploded pretty good. I don't know why you're back alive here. Okay, you're a cool enemy to fight, so I'll let it slide. But no, you should be dead.
Maybe he's from an alternate timeline where you didn't defeat him, and he's part of the 3 timelines of the game. Yeah. If you take all of the series as a full, because that's totally how one would see a timeline for video game normally.
I guess so, but Metroid does not have different timelines, I think.
Neither did The Legend of Zelda until they decided that they did.
That's true. When you want to link, they want to link all the games. So, they make a giant timeline that makes a little sense. But, have all those games be standalones and don't create plot holes. And that's all I ask. Plot holes are kind of annoying. They take you out of the immersion of the game. Focus on the simple one that we can all enjoy and let us enjoy the gameplay and let the gameplay be the story.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I have to admit that I'm much more forgiving of that than you are because I frankly don't give a damn about the story of any video game. Like, I just do not get into them for the story at all.
Okay.
Like, there has never been a video game that I've played that I picked for the story or that I've enjoyed the story of.
Okay. I'm a big role-playing games fan, so, stories are more important. I know you play a little more action-type games.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
You don't really care why the princess got kidnapped for the 12th time. You're just going to grab Mario and go save her. It's like, who cares what the details are?
Exactly. So I've always been a lot more forgiving of that.
Yeah.
But having said that, like, that's exactly what you said. It's if you play outside the Nintendo or gameplay oriented nonsense and start getting into role playing games and whatnot.
Yeah,
it starts being pretty freaking important,
Yeah, and then you mess it up because you try and make it too involved, and you're like, no. All right, so what is your number 2?
My number 2 pick was huge back when they first made the jump to 3D video game.
Yeah.
And that's the camera angles that change while you're jumping.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like this. Okay, let's see if it works as sound. This is an experiment, people. This is what it sounds like when I play a game on the Nintendo 64, because all of the games had that problem.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna make that jump. Oh, it's camera's angle change. I'm gonna change that. Wow!
Yeah, because you need to change your what you're doing, because the camera angle changes, so you're used to, well, now my character's not going in the right way, so I'm just going to compensate, and it's like, no, I should have just kept on pressing the same buttons, and like, I'm dead.
And I can't help it. Every time it happens, every time the camera changes, I know, because I've made that jump twice now into the oblivion, because I keep adapting, and my finger just sort of adapts, because, eye finger coordination.
Yeah.
Eye finger...
Less than eye-tongue coordination, but yeah, perfectly fine.
And every time I make that mistake, and it's so annoying. Like, it's just, you dicks. Like, how do you expect me to know that I'm not supposed to adapt to what's on screen, given that that's what the video game experience is?
Exactly. I guess you're supposed to just look from the side and see how cool Mario is doing his jump, but it's like, no, it's not working for me. That's why I those 3D games I have a lot of problems with. I played a lot of them, most of them because of the story. Like Ocarina of Time has a really fun story, so I played through it, and it's a pretty fun Zelda game. But the 3D thing is just, I would have liked it overhead like the old ones. It would have been fine. Honestly.
Oh yeah, for Zelda in particular, I'm all about the overhead Zeldas.
Yeah. Yeah, people weren't up and about, this one not being overhead, it's like, well, the Adventure of Link, that's terrible, it's not overhead, but this one, it's cool, it's 3D, it's fine.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just noticed that, huh?
Yeah, that's weird. You know what that means, though, about us liking overhead Zeldas?
Yeah.
Is that we favor the timeline where you just failed at Ocarina of Time, because that's where all the overhead ones are.
Yeah, the overhead ones come from you failing at Ocarina of Time and dying, and that's the bad thing happening.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that Zelda timeline thing, because I think it's such nonsense. I'm going to keep bringing it up.
It's nonsense, but it's the Nintendo people having fun, I guess,
It is. But yeah, no, I agree with you. The 3D brings that problem about. But even in 2D games, I've seen it with Kirby's Epic Yarn. Not the main quest. The main quest is perfectly well adapted, but the mini games, which you need to get 100% everywhere, because that's how I play, people. I need to get 100% everywhere, and and. There's one thing, because it's a 2-player game if you want, right? Yeah. But the thing is, there's one stage where you have like the mega bounce thing if you do a certain move and you bounce. Okay. But if your partner doesn't bounce at the same time, he just gets kicked out of the screen and can't do anything. So you don't really have a partner. You just have an obstacle, because if he jumps before you, he screws up your entire game. It's
kind of like Ice Climbers, basically. The guy goes too fast, the other person dies because he just gets left behind the screen there.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly it. Except that the whole stage is about bouncing up and down.
Oh my god.
So that happens every 12 seconds.
That's fun. Yeah, at least Ice Climbers, you can not be a dick and wait for your friend.
Exactly.
If you want to.
Yeah. No. It's way worse than Ice Climbers. It's way worse than the Contra moving up stages.
Yeah.
Because the Contra moving up stages, there's so many obstacles that you don't have a choice to be a dick with your friend. You don't have a choice.
I'm sorry, I have to jump. I was going to die, so I'd rather you die now and die 2 more times, because now that the screen has moved up, there's no ledge where you're spawning, so you're just falling to death.
Exactly. And your friend wants to kill you so bad at that point.
Yeah, at that point, he's trying to do the same to you afterwards. He's just rushing to the top, and you're like, not gonna work.
And I counted it as in the same category, where it's like, stop moving the screen around when there's jumping involved. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I can see that. Some games as well, you just jump, and they don't want you to go off the screen. So, even if you're going to be on the next screen for like half a second, they just scroll the screen up, and you see the top of your head going up, and then you fall back down, and it scrolls the screen down. I did not need to see that, seriously. I could just have guessed that my character went up there and then fall back down. I did not need to see the whole trajectory. Kind of useless there.
Oh, yeah. That's annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so what is your top pet peeve for video games.
Like I said, I'm a very big RPG person. And this is gonna sound very geeky from me, so, I'm sorry. You can always make fun of me in the comments. But when I play an RPG, I want to be the hero. It's a role-playing game. I should be the hero. I don't like to be second fiddle helping other people do their job. A great example of that was like the last expansion of World of Warcraft, Cataclysm, where the whole last raid was helping 5 guys beat Deathwing. It's like, I don't want to help them beat Deathwing. I want to beat Deathwing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's completely ridiculous, when you're just helping people that don't pay $15 a month, by the way, to play the game because they're non-player character, and I'm helping them beat the main character. It makes me feel like, why am I doing this really? It's kind of stupid.
You're just not a team player, man.
I guess I'm not. I'm really not, It really changed because at the beginning, the first couple of expansions, you were the hero and, you killed a dragon, you brought the head in your backpack, I guess, back to the town, and they put the giant dragon head on the pike and they cheered your name, and it's like, this guy beat the dragon, and you've had the sense of being, I did something, even though it was like 40 people killing the dragon. When it was your turn to turn in the head, I was like, yeah, I beat the damn dragon. I'm cool. But now it's like, no, we'd rather have the story move forward. So they're trying to write their, quote unquote story. And, since players can't be a part of the story, it has to be their heroes doing the story. It's
I'm guessing it's a way to sort of bypass the problems that there are in some of in the Star Wars RPG game, where it's like, oh yeah, you're that amazing rebellion fighter who's like this top student. It's like, yeah, and so are all the other players. That's weird.
Actually, that worked great for me. That game had a lot of problems, but the story was great because I really felt like, yeah, this story is about me. You had different classes, like say I played a commando. As long as I don't team up with other commandos, I'm this special commando that's the awesome. I just, teaming up with other dudes like Jedis and stuff, but I'm the awesome commando. It's perfect. And it's funny because that game, I remember, like, at one point you get a starship, and I was so in the game that I was like super excited. It's like, oh, I'm getting a starship, and it's like, then there's part of my brain that says, it's not really a starship. It's just a bunch of pixels, and it's a game. And I was like, shut up, brain. I'm getting a starship, and I was like giddy like a kid. I was like, this is so awesome. I'm getting a starship. I'm going to explore the universe. I was really in the game, and that was fun for me. Whereas, seeing 5 guys beating Deathwing, I'm just standing there, and it's like, oh yeah, this is spectacular. I'm having so much fun here seeing those guys be the hero and saving my poor ass. There's 2 different experiences here, and one I was giddy like a kid, which is why I play the game, and the other one I was like, well, okay, let's just get this done. It's 2 different experiences really for me. So if you make an RPG, make sure that the guy I'm playing is the focus of the story. And it's even possible if in a multiplayer RPG. It's perfectly fine to write a story where the group of adventure, at least, are the heroes. So, after that awesome rant, what is your number 1 pet peeve?
Inability to replay a stage.
Yes.
Because if you dick around, your chances of not getting 100% the first time around, pretty freaking high.
Okay.
And if I'm obsessed with getting 100%, which I am, the fact that I can't revisit a stage to get all of the bonus things, yeah, that pisses me off because it forces me to replay the entire game.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I hate that. Luigi's Mansion is exactly that. You gotta collect as much gold as possible, and if you don't get all of the gold in a certain room, you can't get it back.
Okay.
You can't replay the room. So that means if you fucked up the first room and didn't get that extra 500 coins that you needed, yeah, for a person who wants to get 100%, you're playing the rest of the game for nothing, buddy.
Wow. I'll be devil's advocate here because I totally understand what you're saying, and I really like being able to replay the games. I think when Super Mario World made that, and you had different ways of finishing the game and to give you 2 different paths to follow,
yeah,
I thought that was awesome. But, some people would say that, Super Mario Bros. 3 is like one of the best games ever.
Yeah.
And once you finish the stage there, it was done.
Yeah, no, it actually is the one part about that game that annoys me, because sometimes some of the levels are really freaking awesome, and I just want to replay them. And yeah, you can't. It's annoying.
I guess you could die at the end and replay it, but then you lose a life. It's just not cool.
Yeah. And the only way is to restart the game, and then you have to play through all the shitty levels to get to the ones you like that actually challenge you.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? No.
Okay, that's a very fair point, and I like that. Yeah, but I completely agree with your point. Being able to replay and not having to restart. So yeah, you get to replay the levels you want and the levels you like, as opposed to restarting. Okay, I have to restart from the beginning. This is the lame part. This is the really lame part. Okay, I'm getting to the fun part now. It's like I could totally see that being annoying.
Yeah, no, it's X-Men Legends as well is another game that I think it's at X-Men Legends 2, I should say, that doesn't let you replay certain levels.
Oh, that's lame.
And actually, depending on what you do, because there are hidden costumes and whatnot and hidden characters, if you forgot to get that bonus character, which, is hard to find because you don't know where they're hidden because, they're hidden.
Exactly. That's why they're called hidden.
You'll never get to play as that cool-ass character. It's like, but I really want to play as that cool-ass character. And then you look at the web, it's like, yeah, to do that, on level 2, you had to do this. And I was like, so I have to redo the entire thing because I'm at level 9 now?
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, it's like, why would you program the game like this? Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't just let players do whatever the hell they want. Like, I don't get that.
It's actually a very cheap way of increasing replayability. You play through the game once, and then you realize, oh, well, I missed these characters, so I have to, go through the game again. And basically, you had 2 playthroughs instead of 1. And then sometimes they're hard to get, and you mess up, so I have to do it a 3rd time. So it's a cheap replayability ploy, what it is.
But I would replay the game more if I could do the parts that I like.
That's a good point.
So yeah, that's my pet peeve.
Yeah, it's a good one.
On that note, I guess. Oh no big joke. Like, really, we're just petering out at the end.
We're petering out.
If you want to share with us your pet peeves in gaming, you can write us at mail@idiomatic.com or post a comment at idiomatic.com. We're also on Facebook.
Also on Twitter.
We're also on iTunes. See you next time.
Indeed.
Does it change the difficulty level?
It does change the difficulty, but it also brings a little bit of monotony because, you're oftentimes penalized for changing the abilities you want to use. You have to go back to town, or you lose certain things. So you're stuck with the same 6 abilities all the time, and it's repeat over and over and over again. It's good to have variety. In Diablo 2, you could have like dozens of them. I didn't use all 12 of them, but it was nice to know that they were still available at the press of a hotkey if I needed them. So, you just lose a certain layer there with the limited amount of fingers we have. I just hate having only 10 fingers.
Yeah, on a related note, like one of the things I also hate...
Select and start for actions.
Yeah.
Which, for example, in Zelda, when you use them to go to the sub-menu, that's fine. But when you have to use them to fight, it just becomes very, very awkward. The worst example, I think, was Street Fighter when you played it on the Genesis. So you had 6 actions with only 3 buttons. That was terrible. You could not play with that. They had to sell different controllers just for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
These days, it's a little different because you have so many controllers. Controllers with so many buttons, like 6 or 8 or even 12.
Except if you have a Wii
Except if you have a Wii U. And even with computer gaming now, you have your whole keyboard, so there's no limit. But it still sometimes comes back when you have like computer game. 2, 3.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Idiomatic's Top 3.
With Nicholas, I'm the video game correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic. And you know what is particular about people in my field, writers and all of that?
No.
We can't count.
That's good.
Yeah. And that's why today we're actually doing a top 5 instead of 3.
I'm cool with that.
You're cool with that?
Yeah.
So, to be precise, we are doing top 5 pet peeves in video games.
And they're ported to console. And then you have to going through all the keyboard, all the way down to like 4 to 6 buttons. I think that's one of the reasons why they kind of limited the amount of abilities you can have in certain games. You can only cast like 6 spells at once. For example, in maybe Neverwinter or Diablo 3, you can only have like 6 spells, even though a ton of them, you can only have 6 of them memorized at once. It's because when they go to the console, well, you have 6 buttons you can use.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm not quite a fan of dumbing down the game just because you might want to bring the console.
Does it bring an interesting challenge though? Just sort of like essentially forcing you to rely on 6 abilities instead of a full gamut of abilities.
Yes. I'm a big gamer. You're a little less, but you still play, video games have stuff that annoys you when you're playing, stuff you could do without.
I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so yeah, I've played enough video games.
That too, as well, yeah. At the time where video games also were just, starting to expand, so, there was enough stuff to be peeved about in that area.
Good heavens, yeah. Alright, so let's get to the show proper. We've got a lot of material to go through. So, what is your number 5 pet peeve in video games?
No, that's a no one, but it still kind of rears its ugly head these days, once in a while. When you have too many actions for the number of buttons on your controller. That really became a problem like in the old Nintendo era when you only had 2 buttons and the games became really involved. You had to use